Good morning, everybody. Pastor Rick here, Broadman Baptist Church. This is the Broadman Word for September 7th, 2022. It is a marvelous day to be a Christian. I am so glad to be talking to you today, and I hope you're having a marvelous day in the Lord. Today I want to talk to you, the subject or the title for today is Not of Flesh. And so it comes from Romans chapter 8, verses 9 and 10. Let me go ahead and read it to you. It says, "You, however, are not in the realm of the flesh, but are in the realm of the Spirit, if indeed the Spirit of God lives in you. And if anyone does not have the Spirit of Christ, they do not belong to Christ. But if Christ is in you, then even though your body is subject to death because of sin, the Spirit gives life because of righteousness." So, I had talked to you a couple weeks ago during a sermon from 1 Thessalonians about how we are eternal, how we will never end. You'll never not know who you are. You'll never not know where you are. You'll never not know who you're with. You'll never not know what's happening to you. And you will continue to exist and work in the service of the Lord forever. You will never end. And that is a critical part of Christian life is to understand the eternal nature of who you are. And the reason that is because upon profession of faith, which Paul says, if you have Christ in you, so that's when that would happen. Upon profession of faith, Christ enters, the Spirit of Christ enters, and you are then no longer part of the realm of flesh, no longer part of the world. You've become holy, meaning set apart. You are now a spirit. God's Spirit lives in you, and you have a physical presence because you need it to do the work in the kingdom that God has for you to fulfill your special mission and the overall mission that Christ left us to reconcile everybody to the cross. So, with this understanding that we are no longer part of the world, we're in it but not of it, we need to think about things differently than the world does. We need to act and react differently to the things of the world because we are people with hope. We are eternal people. We are people of spirit, not flesh. If we allow ourselves to accept the world's circumstances as they come to us in a worldly fashion, and we allow that to drive our reactions and our actions, we then run the risk of not being set apart, not being holy, because we're acting just like people who have no hope, people who live in darkness and who have not accepted the light or the love of Jesus Christ. So if we're to proclaim that the Christian life is the way, the only way to go, and it is the thing that separates people, those who belong to God and those who don't, then we need to really act like we are separate, that we are spirit, that we belong to God and not the world. So we can't talk the way everybody else talks. We can't do the things that everybody else does. We can't, have the same worldly-based opinions about things. Our actions need to be filtered through the Holy Spirit so that we can delineate the will of God, the good and perfect will of God in every situation. And then our opinions need to be those of the Bible, biblical world opinions, having a biblical worldview. And those two things then need to drive how we act first, or how we might react to any given person or situation or circumstance that we see. Because, as Paul clearly says, if indeed the Spirit of God lives in you, this is kind of a harsh point. It's sort of a nondescript sentence tucked in with a rather important concept. But this is rather a harsh point. Paul is saying that if you do have the Spirit in you, then you're not going to be part of the realm of flesh. You might be in it, but you cannot be of it. And thus, a person's nature and how they think, what they do, how you perceive them, how others perceive them, how their presence in the world is all going to be based on what they are of, the totality of the experiences that they've had to life at that point, and what they've decided to be of, what is their identity, essentially. Do they identify with the Spirit of Christ and being alive, not of themselves, but in Christ Jesus, and thus a spirit being here, temporarily doing work on behalf of God until that work is done and we get to go home, or until the day of the Lord? Is it that identity? Or is it a worldly identity where there's not much difference between the professed or supposed believer and the attitudes, actions, words, and ideas, theologies of the world? There's really those only two choices. I know we love plan B, C, or D. We love gray areas, and absolutes are difficult, but that's really the only two identities you can have, either of Christ or of the world. Any attempts to have some sort of hybrid are going to fail miserably. You're just going to end up with a muddled mess of nonsense, trying to live your life according to some ever-changing set of circumstances, and trying to apply some Christianity to it. And you're going to end up diluting the gospel and muddling up the perception of the gospel in the world, and it's just not going to be productive. So you have to pick. You have to choose what your identity is going to be. What are you of? If you are, in fact, of the Spirit of God now, then that's got to drive you. That's got to be the thing that you are from, the thing that people see in you, the thing that you profess and present to this lost world that you're attempting to bring into the light of Christ. Not another way, but the only way. And that's a tough sell. It can't be done if there's not an actual difference in you and the rest of the world. However, it can be done if, as a spirit being, you present the gospel in who you are and what you are, and you rely on the strength of Christ, the words of God, and go about your presentations of life in general and the gospel that way. You can let the strength of God work through you, and you can have good fruit. You can bear fruit. Not every time, but you can bear fruit. However, if there's some sort of mixed hybrid going on there, then people are going to pick out what they like in what you say, which is going to be the mostly easy to accept worldly stuff, and they'll reject the things that they don't understand that you say, mostly because they don't see it in you. So it's difficult, or if impossible, to believe. So we have a pretty big job then, to walk the line, so to speak, like the old Johnny Cash song, I walk the line. So I would encourage you to spend some time reflecting on what it is you're presenting to the world, which identity. If a random group of people spent some time around you, what would their perception be? If they didn't know you, hadn't met you, and then they spent a few hours with you, maybe they looked at your day, looked at your calendar, looked at where you spend your money, look at how you talk, how you present yourself. You answered a survey for them about your opinions on various world and social, cultural issues. Would all of that equal an identity in Christ? That's the questions you have to ask yourself, and you need to go to prayer about it between you and God and decide what's the best way for you to move forward from here. Listen, I love you. I wish you luck. Have a marvelous day and choose the identity of who you actually are according to God, a spirit being, no longer of the flesh. Take care. We'll see you next time.